So definitely this morning that was mentioned a lot, but it was around a lot of cool things. So maybe let's get into some specifics on how Qualcomm is utilizing AI, but also what sets you guys apart. What is making it different?
Okay. I can start. I think on the compute side, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. On the smartphone side, we've always used AI really as a tool to help us with things. So, for example, kind of camera. People don't necessarily realize it, but there's so many little algorithms within a camera solution. Deciding on the brightness and deciding on the autofocus and deciding on color adjustments for different portions of the image. There's an incredible number of things happening under the scenes. So AI has been used really by Qualcomm under the hood to produce these great experiences. Now AI is really coming to the forefront kind of in consumer, kind of understanding consumer experiences. Things like direct voice assistants you can interact with that come up with these incredible solutions, incredible answers, can summarize your email for you, can set your calendar for you, can solve real-world problems using AI in a way that's more direct, that the consumer can directly interact with. So yeah, this is really our big unveiling of our generative AI capabilities with these very large models doing these very sophisticated algorithms.
If we can kind of expand on one of the examples that they gave from the stage, they briefly mentioned stable diffusion.
Sure.
And how it's going to be running natively on this chip, and why is that important? And maybe can you give us a scenario of how someone's going to use this in their everyday?
Sure. Maybe I'll give one example. I'll tell you Kedar.
Yep.
So, for example, one example we showed is you take a picture. Like we're all used to zooming in, right? You take a picture and now you want to really expose one detail, you zoom in. So one of the cool things I think that I still can't quite believe works, but it works, is zooming out. So you take a picture and now I'd like a bigger view of that. I'd like to extrapolate from the details in the picture to really form a bigger view. So that's something where we take the image, and we extract details out of the image, and then that goes right back into this image generator, which could be stable diffusion, or another one called control net, or a similar kind of network, to take those details and use that to fill in this missing portion of an image. So again, it seems impossible until you see it happen.
Yeah. Because people are already starting to use that tech in, like Photoshop programs and stuff like that with Gen AI. But when it comes to, just your phone, and all you have to do is maybe pinch or press a button, that's when it kind of becomes unreal. Because you're kind of closing the gap. You don't need a super professional app, right?
That's right. And we're here in Maui. I'm sweating, so you can prove it's real. It's not AI generated. We're here actually. We're not in a studio in Burbank or something. We're in a real place. As we all took a plane ride over here, if I wanted to do that photo edit on the plane, no connectivity, I didn't pay for the Wi-Fi, I can still do that with the tools I have right there instantaneously, try a different solution, try a different picture, try a different input. So I can do that real time.
Which, I love that example, because I think a lot of people get confused when they're like, okay, well, what's the benefit of having AI run natively on the chip, on your phone, on your computer, and just like that? I mean, that's huge. Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Hog the stage here.
No,
this is great.
This is great. No, I think a lot of what Chris talked about, right? AI, I know the term seems to be getting used widely now, but we've had, for example, an NPU in our phones as well as our PC platforms for many years, right? Simple things like now you talk about background blur, because now video calling is so popular over the last couple of years. Things like background blur and stuff, we're always using AI, right? So the term is getting used now. But I think the key is, the reason why we talked about supporting so many different models, so many different AI engines, if you will, is because AI is just going to be pervasive, right? We talk about whether it's manufacturing, whether it's operations, whether it's sales, whether healthcare. You talk about any industry, everybody's going to use AI because it's going to help accelerate a lot of stuff. And there's lots of benefits for AI to run on device. I mean, we're talking about something more secure. We're talking about something that's, immediacy. You want to reduce the latency, privacy. So there's lots of benefits to getting to run some of these things. So I think AI will just start to become pervasive across all the industries, and everyone will start to see the advantage. I think I'd say we're still very early. The applications are still starting to develop, and the benefit you'll see from Qualcomm, we talked about, is the fact that we have a very cool heterogeneous architecture. You have a CPU, a GPU, an NPU, and we have all the intelligence to make sure that you get to run some of these applications in the coolest possible manner.
Awesome. can you give us a specific example? You know, if you're on your Windows PC utilizing, you know, this new Snapdragon platform, how are people going to be using this in their everyday?
Let's talk about how we're using it today, because that's a great example. With HCX Gen 3 platform that's already available, with the Microsoft Studio effects, let's say you're on a Teams call, and you sort of, you raise your hand when you want to ask a question or something, or there's background blur, or there's eye gaze correction. All of these features are implemented today. So you don't really know, even though I'm looking at someone on a video call, it doesn't seem like we're making eye contact because you're always looking down at the screen.
Right.
So when things like these come into play, it's all running, for example, in the background on an NP or an AI engine, or could be on an NPU. So there's lots of benefits to how consumers will start to see it. And it's ideal if consumers don't know what the technology is. As long as they see something that's cool, that's all that matters.
They say the best design is invisible, right?
Exactly. Right.
So it's kind of like that. Okay, so moving on to Orion. So obviously we've been talking about these new processors on not just phones but computers. So it was announced, the Snapdragon X Elite with the new Orion CPU. So Kedar, we're going to kick it right back to you. There were some bold claims today in the keynote. We saw a lot of charts with a lot of lines going up and to the right, right? So kind of, let us know what were some of those announcements, but also when you see it on a graph, that's impressive, but kind of bring us back to how is that going to affect people when they're using their computers? Yeah.
So that's awesome. And it's funny how you saw these different lines. Because those lines mean, the simple version of what those lines means to a consumer is you get incredible battery life. That's what the simple takeaway is, right? It's power efficiency and great battery life. You can use your laptop for days without having to charge it, right? Going a little bit more specific, so when we started designing the Snapdragon X Elite, with the Qualcomm Orion CPU, it's a custom CPU that we've designed in-house. We focus a lot, we come from a legacy of low power, right? That's our legacy in phones. That's how we think about the DNA with making sure that we have the best battery life experience. So the way you should think about Snapdragon X Elite and all of those fun curves that you saw is we put in the intelligence to have the best possible CPU, the best possible graphics engine, so you can play some really cool games. We put in the best NPU, and then we take care of the magic in the background, right? We have all the software algorithms that take care of running on all these cores, but the end user just gets incredible battery life. So that's how you should interpret all those fun charts into a simple, excellent battery life with high performance.
Power with power efficiency.
Exactly.
So, Chris, are we going to see any of these maybe features that we're seeing with Orion right now come over to mobile platforms? Can you give us a little...
Yeah, the last minute there, I think we shared on stage today. It was a big announcement. It was new today for me that we were sharing that with the public. So everybody got a surprise today, myself included, that we're sharing that the Orion CPU will soon be next year, say around this time. If you come back and join us in Hawaii, we're going to talk about the performance of that Orion core in a smartphone chip. And to what Kedar was saying, again, battery life, hugely important. A smartphone is just an incredibly challenging environment. The compute, much easier. But a smartphone, very challenging, just because it's such a tiny device, right, when you think about it. So it's very important the temperature of that device stays managed. So everything that I was saying about battery efficiency, hugely important. But in a smartphone, almost power efficiency is the same as performance, because we have to make sure we keep right within this kind of thermal envelope, we call it, within a smartphone. So even if you have great curves and they go really high in terms of performance, you have to manage things in terms of power. So they having an optimized CPU like the Orion core that we've developed, we're so excited about, that has both the combination of that performance and power efficiency is pretty special.
Well, what about a personal question for you guys? What are y'all most excited about just when it comes to power? Is it maybe gaming on the phone, or maybe a certain productivity? I mean, you're the gaming guy too. Give me something in your own life that, hey, this is a great use case with battery life and power coming together on your device.
Yeah. I am not trying to put your job at risk, but I am a wannabe creator. So when I get to use some creator apps and stuff, you'll see we're going to show some fun creator apps tomorrow. And
hey, well, if you have questions too, I'm here.
I am going to take you up on that offer. We're looking at stuff. I mean, every consumer today is a creator, is a casual gamer. And so the reason why we put in a level of these performance and efficiencies is you can create these things. And plus, we didn't talk about this. It's almost, I feel like today's the unsung hero is the camera in the X Elite. It's actually a camera core, or ISP as they call it. It's incredible. What the resolution that you'll see, the way we have simple things like face unlock or presence detection. So like right now, if somebody's comes from the back and starts to eavesdrop on it, it's going to pick that up. It's going to prompt the user. So all of these cool features are I'm looking forward to it. And once you start to use it, it'll be very, very exciting.
Yeah, amazing. Chris, give me like an app. Maybe a specific app, or maybe something.
Then I care about power consumption.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, two things. So I went to a concert last weekend. First concert I've been to in a long time, and I could record as much of it as I wanted. Zoom in, incredible quality, in very difficult conditions to take video, and still I could do that without hesitating. Without thinking, okay, I'm going to just do it for a couple minutes and then stop. If I wanted to, if my arm didn't get tired, I could have recorded the whole concert and still known I can get that ride-sharing app to take me home and not worry. So for me, for the smartphone especially, battery life and power efficiency almost means freedom. It means you can go use that phone as much as you want. You can go live your life as much as you want, and still know you're going to be kind of okay with your sort of ultimate kind of digital companion at your side.
Are you allowed to say what you're shooting on?
I can share it, absolutely.
Share it.
Then I think I get 25 cents, I think, from Samsung if I show
there you go.
my Samsung
He's
Fold.
a foldable guy.
I'm a foldable guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Amazing.
a foldable guy.
So you're lifting up the big foldable at a concert?
No.
Okay.
I keep it folded.
Keep it folded.
It is polite to keep it folded while you're shooting, and
Proper
unfolded to
foldable
watch the movie afterwards. Absolutely.
I love
Chris,
it.
which concert were you?
It's a secret. I'm not getting paid by Ed Sheeran. Oops, Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran concert.
I've seen
was
so many
fantastic.
clips from that. It looks so great.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, shout out to Ed
fantastic.
Sheeran.
One other use
please.
case, something else we announced today that I love. It's not in the phone, but it's phone adjacent. So it's also part of my team. Is something called XPAN, right? So this is extended personal area network. So again, incredibly cool. So if I'm connected to my phone or connected to one of Kedar's new Windows and Snapdragon devices with what looks like a Bluetooth headset, I could go out of Bluetooth range. For example, in the hotel here, there's a Wi-Fi network that covers the whole hotel. So I can leave my laptop there, I can be on a call, and I can go walk to another part of the campus of the hotel and still now be connected instead of over Wi-Fi, over Bluetooth, over Wi-Fi. So it's combined Bluetooth, Wi-Fi technology, the power consumption of Bluetooth with the range of coverage of Wi-Fi. I think it's going to be a game changer when this technology comes out. It's definitely super powerful.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I mean, that's somewhat adjacent to, let's talk about seamless. So, this is going to add just a great ecosystem to people's devices, no matter what phone they're on or what PC. So Snapdragon Seamless, let's talk about how this is going to power these products and work together with different OEM devices, right? I think that has been something that has been missing, and so that's a really cool hole to fill. I'm excited to see that in real life.
That's right.
Either of you guys can take that,
Sure.
really.
Go ahead.
I can start, I can have to go. It is, it's kind of Qualcomm's mission, really, to be this kind of horizontal technology enabler. So the idea is we come up with this great technology, we invest in this great technology, and then we provide it as broadly as possible across the ecosystem. So not to one company or one brand or one even operating system, but really enable things as broadly as possible. So Seamless is really in that spirit, is how to take these different OEMs and different ecosystems together. So connecting kind of Kedar's business and my business, I'm using Microsoft Phone Link over the last few weeks. That's something that's, a few months. That's something that's enhanced by some of the Seamless technology, and there's a plan to do tighter and tighter integration with Seamless. And so now my Windows laptop and my Android phone work perfectly together. I can see a text message there, I can see a text message here. Pretty interesting experiences. So it's a technical challenge, but it's really the spirit of Qualcomm. It's kind of bring these technologies horizontally, bring everybody together. So that's the concept.
Awesome. And if we can maybe double click on the technicalities of this, I find it kind of interesting on, of course, you guys are providing the technology, but then it's up to the OEMs to then adopt that, right?
Right.
And so I guess why? What is the thing that is going to make all of your partners out there say, we have to put this in our devices?
That's an easy question. Kedar.
It's actually pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the use case, when you have a different phone with a different PC, with different earbuds and stuff. And when you get the experience that Chris talked about, it just works seamlessly. You click a picture and it's instantly available on your PC. And that whole ecosystem of partners, doesn't matter which phone or PC you have, it all just connects together. Once you start to experience it, you realize the benefit, right? Literally, you click a picture and it's available on your PC to share through email, or it's available to share in other areas. Plus, the use case that Chris talked about with the audio stuff with Expand is actually very cool. Like when you start to use it and you realize, and because even today I wear my headsets and you walk around a little bit away from your phone, I mean, Bluetooth starts to get weaker. So now you have these interchangeable things between Bluetooth and Expand. So once you start and see the harmony with all of these devices, it's actually incredible.
Yeah. So we want to have an incredible party, and then so everybody wants to join. So that's the idea. Is once you see it, you want to be part of it. You want to participate. So that's what we expect.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hit some of these mandatory points that I wanted to talk about, so I'm going to get kind of selfish and ask you guys some questions that I want to answer,
if
that's okay.
Oh, no, it's dangerous.
And they are kind of creator-centric, right? And I know you said that we're going to dive more into the camera tomorrow, but I was wondering if you can kind of give us a preview of some of the really cool camera features, because I've already been outside doing all the demos and stuff. That's
sure.
the benefit of being here at Snapdragon Summit, right? I've already gotten the previews. And I don't even know what I can say. It's all public now. Okay, so vlogger's view is one of my favorite things.
Right.
And so kind of explain to us what that is and how it works and why it's cool.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite features.
Okay. All right, so yeah, we've had multiple cameras for a long time on phones. And when it first came out, it seemed impossible. We would joke about sort of, this is crazy, nobody's ever going to use this. But everybody turned out to use it, which is to have multiple lenses. Right, so one lens focused on the near field, and one lens focused further, wider view, different sensitivity, more dark sensitivity, light sensitivity. And then something happened as well, which is front-facing camera, rear-facing camera. So that's crazy, nobody will do that. You just turn your phone around, there's no such thing. And then a selfie happened, and suddenly the front-facing camera was as important as the rear-facing camera. Okay, so what this technology, the vlogger's view you described, is putting some of those things together. Right, so we have this great rear-facing experience, multiple cameras that you can merge different aspects of the images, you can do different processing. You have the front-facing camera, but instead of switching between the two, now you're going to get both of those vid streams at the same time. Right, so within the app, or there's different ways to do it. You can combine, so you can, for example, be showing this beautiful scenery here in Maui, and sharing your feelings about it, and talking about kind of everything you're experiencing, and have both of those streams combined real time.
That's really cool. And the selfie cam is also green screened. So that was one of the coolest things. When I saw the announcement, I was like, okay, I've seen some apps that have done this, but when you actually see it, it's only you in the front-facing camera. So it cuts out all the distractions around you. And so it's a very beautiful image, because you just have your person and then what you're seeing, which I guess is a testament to power. And the phone wasn't dead after I used it.
No, it was not dead. And by the way, that, Kedar talked about background blur. Right. So like if you've seen background blur that you love and background blur you're like, that's not so great. What's the difference? The difference is how well the AI underneath figures out the border that is you versus the scenery, right? So if I'm standing here and the question is something behind me kind of like me a little bit, if it kind of gets the edge of my image incorrect, then that's an obvious distracting thing. So one of the algorithms underneath all of this is what we call video segmentation, which is capturing that stream and being able to very carefully outline exactly the outline of your hair, etc. Even though you have different fabrics on and different hair and skin color as you're moving, and do that real time and do it perfectly, and do it at low power consumption, so you can do it without worrying about the battery life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's, we're talking a lot about mobile and stuff, but I mean, give us another very just specific feature. Let's get granular. What about creators? What are the apps that we're going to be able to use with this new platform? I saw DaVinci Resolve on the screen. There's a little screenshot, and some of my video people on Twitter were like, okay, are we going to be able to do apps like this on these platforms?
Yeah, I think we're obviously making sure that all of the apps for Windows on Snapdragon are ready. Microsoft talked about it today as well. We're working very closely with them. We handed out a development kit to make sure like all the app developers can take advantage of running, because see, we have very interesting dedicated heterogeneous cores, right? So we have fixed function blocks for CPU, GPU, audio, video. Even when you talk about audio, we have this sensing hub that, there's a small little NPU, a neural processor, within the audio block that's sort of blurred. That's used for low power audio. So we look at all of these things. And so for companies or third-party creator apps to take advantage, we've given them kits. So they're all optimizing on stuff. So you've obviously seen DaVinci. Last year, Adobe was with us here at Summit. They've talked about the kind of cool things they're doing with us on Windows on Snapdragon. So yeah, there's a lot of these apps that you'll see where they're all working on porting stuff to Windows on Snapdragon.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so I believe we have some questions from Discord potentially.
Yes, that's correct. So
Okay.
I know I was going to give them to you ahead of time, but instead I'll just read them
Do them live.
for you guys.
All
We're going
right.
to do this live. That's the fun thing about doing things
Perfect.
live.
Nothing bad could happen. It's going to be fun.
Nothing.
Let's go.
Okay, so the first one we got from Discord would be for you, Kedar. Is that any plans to have the Snapdragon X Elite used in desktops?
Yeah.
Or do you
Yeah.
think this is just a laptop part?
I think right now we're only talking about and demonstrating the X Elite in laptop form factors, but let's just say it's a very versatile platform. You should expect, there's nothing that prevents it from getting used in other form factors, but the one we're showing today is obviously in the notebook form factor.
Which is the next question, which is is it only going to be in Windows?
Well, right now we're talking about Windows as it relates to that, and not talking about any other operating system at this point in time.
Okay. Another one, obviously that AI and generative AI was talked a lot today. So talking a lot about the capabilities of the chipset. What kind of partners are you having to actually bring that to life as far as apps that will actually take advantage of that capability?
I assume the question's on.
This would be for both of you guys, for both platforms.
I'll start and then Chris feel free to add. I think because mobile already has several apps already, and I'm sure Chris will talk to it. But X Elite, there's lots of apps, and we're showcasing multiple applications. We've talked about applications like Disney Plus. We showed WhatsApp today. We've shown Amazon Prime. There's like several applications that we can all relate to. Zoom is another application we've talked about. So all of these applications are running on Windows on Snapdragon. So yeah, all of them, like I said, take advantage of the AI engine that we have on Windows on Snapdragon or Snapdragon X Elite.
Sure. So on the handset side, on the smartphone side, we partner with a number of different companies on the underlying models. Right, so these are what we call foundational models. These very large, what we call large language models, large vision models, that are then going to be shared between different applications, different usage. So right now we're working very closely with Google on their set of applications, working with each of the smartphone OEMs. So you heard Xiaomi on stage today talk about some of the incredible things that they're doing, and soon you'll hear about announcements from other OEMs on their first-party applications, the ones they do themselves. So then the next wave that's going to come a little bit later is really this wave of third-party applications. So you'll see over the next couple of days some pretty cool technology demonstrations, some examples of the kinds of things we will see from different vendors, including Snap and others. And yeah, expect announcements very soon on those capabilities by third-party apps on the phone.
And I have a follow-up question to that, actually. For the non-technical folks out there, how long does it take for developers to get the information from you guys to then incorporate it, into their apps? Like, what is that process like?
Sure. Really, that process is still emerging. I think we're all learning together, really, what that process is. Because, it's really uncharted territory for everybody. Outside of these kind of new, massive, large models, we had a set of interfaces that we exposed, that the OS exposed, whether it's Windows or Android, that app developers would use. But really, there's a new sort of methodology emerging, how multiple app vendors can share these very large models. I think there's a concept from Google. There's going to be some other concepts. I know Microsoft has some ways that they're going to expose it. So that is actually unfurling right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Microsoft talked about several tools as well, right? Today, Visual Studio, .NET, a whole bunch of tools that who are both enabling. Qualcomm has released several tools in the industry to help accelerate some of these things. And there's lots of work, and as Chris said, it really the reason why it's so complex is you saw how many models Cristiano showed on stage today, right? The number of AI models, they're evolving every day.
Yeah.
It depends on what use case and how you're trying to implement them, how do you want to implement these, if you're a consumer or an enterprise user. So it just varies. That's why I think we're in the process of learning. But I do think what's on the other side is going to be super cool, because it's going to be these AI applications that people are just going to love.
Okay, one other question that came in from the Discord, which will be for both of you, for your respective products that were launched. When can we expect to see the first devices that are powered by X Elite and Gen 3?
So I apologize. I think we have some enthusiastic fans here.
Yes.
So I think the question was, where would we first see
When would we first
see these platforms being incorporated?
Okay. I think
into real devices that we have in our hands.
Got it.
Just for those watching, there's a whole bunch of crazy fans coming to watch us right now. So we're just trying to control this crowd here.
Those are all Kedar fans. I think.
Yes.
That's what I understand. They're holding Kedar signs. It's incredible. So I think they're Sara fans. They're not Kedar fans.
I
Just
know.
to be clear. No,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly.
For obvious reasons. So let me say the 8 Gen 3. I think we shared today. First time ever really we've had a customer come to the event and announce their device. In fact, show their device live on stage as we were still announcing our device.
That was exciting.
Anyway, so that was exciting and pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think I won on that. They announced that their device would launch just in the next couple of days.
Definitely. I think for Snapdragon X Elite, you should expect devices to be available mid-24. But you saw a few endorsements today from a few of our partners. You'll see a lot more announcements coming tomorrow. So stay tuned to watch more announcements.
Okay, so I think that is it for the Discord questions. Do we have any questions maybe from the YouTube live stream that we could answer? And in the meantime, is there another camera thing we can go back to? Because I got so many demos yesterday. So I mean, we have, we have the crazy zoom, being able to utilize the 200 megapixel sensors. We have, we just have a lot when it comes to the camera.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you could pick a personal favorite or something.
I'll pick one thing
that
again. We talked about it a little bit with bokeh effects and background blur and things like that. But we have something called cognitive ISP, the cognitive ISP. So we introduced this feature last year. So this combines AI and the video processing in the ISP, which is we can split live. It's not a final end user effect, but it's a key enabling technology. So we can take the video stream live and split it by different kinds of portions of that image. So for example, if somebody's shooting this right now, we can do completely different processing if we choose, for the grass that's kind of below us, for the sky above us, for the cool fireball kind of behind us, for fabric. So I think that those kinds of things are usually done in post-processing. But now we can do that real time. Like real time, we can split the image, even though it's video, even though we're moving, even though it's high resolution, we can split it into different sub-portions of the image, do completely different processing of those. And it can produce some pretty exciting effects. Difficult lighting conditions, for example, where a portion of this is lit, but a portion is not. We can process it completely differently, and the end bring out all the details and do it live. Not in post-proc, but
awesome.
live. So pretty
even
amazing.
stuff like this with some sensors, if you have a pattern on your shirt or maybe even your shirt, how there's small lines. Sometimes in broadcast, those kind of get some aliasing and some fuzziness. So to maybe be able to say, hey, over here, let's turn down the contrast and maybe help that. That would be a really powerful use case. And I could wear those suits again that I love.
That's right. You could, for example, have an algorithm to remove the sweat from my shirt. And then, that'd be great if we could run that.
We kind of all need some help with that today.
I was going to say we have an awesome PR rep that brought us some bottle of water. So I'm going to go quickly pick one up and run right back.
Yes.
I don't know if that's professional to leave the stream in the middle. That's not how we do it. Thank you. Good man. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Karina.
Okay.
And I'll take that ice water. Is that, can I have one of those? Thank you so much. Okay, so we talked a lot about, some of the camera features. Is there anything specific to video? Because I live and breathe video, whether it's, we talked a lot about bokeh and background blur, but in terms of capturing, editing it, you just mentioned being able to filter specific things. Is there anything else? Because, that's definitely what I get the most excited about.
There's a lot. So tomorrow is going to be our deep dive into the Atrium 3. So we're going to have dedicated sessions for every one of the different kind of technologies within the chipset. So we'll talk more about AI. You heard a little bit about it today, but we have exciting things to share tomorrow. But we definitely have a big deep dive on camera. So I don't want to spoil the surprises tomorrow. There's going to be some drama, a little bit of tension for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting kind of having these advanced imaging and video capabilities on the compute side.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're bringing, if you remember, we've all got, through COVID, we all had an external camera, right? Most of us didn't use the camera, and you had a camera up top. So it's all going to change because you're going to get a beautiful camera integrated in the Snapdragon X Elite. So you really don't need any more external cameras now. So it's all of video editing, all of the camera functions, simple things like secure unlocking your laptop, and so all those things are just going to change. And just like Chris said, we will also go through a lot more details tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe one of the last topics we'll touch on. Let's go a little bit high level with the AI talk. There's obviously a lot of powerful things that you can do when the phone, your computer is talking to servers up in the cloud with connectivity with 5G. But a lot of the focus has been on native processing.
Right.
Processing directly on 8 Gen 3, on the new X Elite platforms. And so when that's mentioned, it is still high level. And so you gave a great example with Stable Diffusion, being able to use that, on an airplane, maybe if you don't have Wi-Fi. Are there some other examples that you guys can give where on-device AI is powerful?
Look at another great example. If you're a sales rep, you're a retailer, you're out in the field, right? And let's say you're in an area where you don't have connectivity, or you don't have a 5G enabled laptop. There's a lot of processing. You want some instant access to sales data. You want to be able to get some numbers crunched very quickly to be able to work more effectively with your clients. A lot of these states today, when you think about AI, are these all large language models, right? Called LLMs, where it's all search-based today. You type something and say, tell me more about it. It's more search-based. But where I think the fun's really going to begin is when these get converted into, like, say, LVMs, right? Like where you have text to image, or text to, say, creating a PowerPoint. So you can just type it in there and say, please help me create a scene with Sara, Chris, and Kedar with a background of a surfboard or something, and help me create that. So when you think about the effectiveness with which it's going to generate some of these slides, and how quickly you're able to generate content that you can then use for your end customers, it's going to change in a dramatic way. So I think
you're saying you'll be able to do that without being connected.
Yeah, you'll be able to do those on device.
Right.
And so that's why what we're seeing today, and when we talk about like large language models supporting 7, 10, 20 billion, all these parameter models, is because these models are going to be able to do a lot more than just do like text searches, if you will.
Because I guess, I don't know if you have a specific number for this, but when it comes to a specific model, how much is that? Like a Stable Diffusion, if you download it natively onto your computer, is it 100 gigs, or is it becoming more accessible to have multiple models, on your computer? And is that why? Because it's just a bunch of text that isn't, because I think in terabytes with video.
Yeah, no,
so
I get it.
It's hard to like wrap my mind around like how much can you have natively on a device,
Sure,
right?
got it. Yeah, the fun, again, we have to fit on something. We're always thinking about the smartphone as well, right? The smartphone and compute. Smartphones have tons of storage now compared to what they did not too long ago, but it's finite, right? And then the amount of RAM accessible, finite. Right, so what we've specialized, done an incredible amount of research on, is how to make these models as small as possible. So today, for example, we talked about a 7 billion parameter model. But the key question is that 7 billion, for the more technical folks in the audience, is that times 32 bits or times 16 bits, 8 bits. We talked about 4-bit quantization today. The whole idea there is how to get these gigantic models down to something that is small. right? And actually be fit on a portable device and be practical. So by then, even the very big models we're talking about, say 7 billion parameters, might be 4 gigabytes, for example, of storage. So very reasonable. Again, it almost seems impossible.
Yeah, it seems...
Stable diffusion, control net we mentioned, are even smaller than that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So it's amazing. You have this creation engine in a pretty small amount of size. It's just shocking.
Yeah, because when you see the end result, it's like there's no way that this can happen without the internet or natively on the device.
Right.
So it is kind of crazy to hear that it is only a few gigs.
Yeah, that's right. If you see, we do a lot of our demos like these things with in what we call airplane mode, turns off connectivity, just because, you don't believe it. I stared at it, I almost don't believe it. It seems miraculous, I think, at times.
Definitely.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have maybe a dumb question. You mentioned, I've heard LLMs, but you mentioned LVMs. What does that stand for?
So think of it as text to image or different modular stuff. So you could create an image, or you could write text, and the text could create an image. So image to image. So there's all of these models that can get generated. So it's moving in that direction now.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. Some people say LLM. There's large models, but large LLM stands for large language models.
Right.
So that tends to mean text to text. Yeah. So it's something that has a text input and then a text output.
Okay.
But then some of these models, like Stable Diffusion, there's text input, but then picture, say, out or visual output. Okay. So large visual models or large vision models. Okay. So LLMs and LVMs. But some people in the industry, I think, use them most interchangeably and say LLMs to refer to both. Okay. But really, they're two different things.
Okay. We're learning a lot here today on the stream. So in a couple minutes, we actually have a special guest that I see right now. Are you guys nervous? Because he's technically your boss.
Always nervous. Yeah. Always nervous. I was nervous to meet you. I'm not. To meet the special guest, I feel pretty calm. He's mostly gentle. What do you think of that?
I think it's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be okay. It's going to be fun.
Cristiano is here, the CEO of Qualcomm. Yes, right. Which is very exciting. So he's getting mic'd up right now. And he's going to be in the spotlight. So if there's anything else you guys would like to share in the meantime while he gets mic'd up, this is your platform right now.
Don't miss checking out Cristiano's super cool shoes.
Oh.
I feel very jealous right now. So if you missed them, please don't miss his shoes. So I don't know
Cristiano,
if we can
you come on up if you're ready.
Hey guys,
how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Really good. Very good.
How are you doing, sir? How are you?
This is your seat. So we've already been talking a lot about the announcements this morning. You guys did a great job. It was very exciting. And I figured we would start with, you made a point from the stage that we're kind of moving from this app-centric environment on mobile to this, a new environment with AI being at the center, where it's almost going to be predicting, what you need from your device. So talk a little bit about that and why that is so important.
Yes. Look, the exciting thing about this is, we all got used to how we use our phone and how we interact with all the different apps. And the way I describe it is you have the applications and have you as human, and you go in and you touch and you go from one application to the other. But now there's this AI engine that has one job. The job is to understand you, understand where you are, what you do, your preferences, what are your favorite things, and be there to provide assistance to every task. And eventually, it's not going to happen overnight, but eventually those things will start to coexist, and it's going to be now a big part of the user experience. And the best way to describe this is to probably go to some examples. What would you do as a consumer? Like if you think about your phone and you do multiple times a day, you text with different people. Well, when you provide a text input, or even if it's voice input, that's information, that's a query. And if you have those models running, the model will be able to conclude that based on the conversation you're having, you're talking about getting together with someone, and based on what you said, if it's going to get together to have a dinner or something, it will bring your calendar, think about a tag for your calendar app and say, this day you're available at this time. There's a possibility at your favorite restaurant, I can send an open table reservation. And so think about the AI just doing things that you would do, just going to different apps. And it eventually doesn't matter if the apps is on the phone or if the apps is on the cloud. So then let's say something else. You and I having a phone conversation, we have a phone conversation, and it summarized the call and said, here's what you agreed to do, this is your action item. And it's all the data stays on the device. It's your data. It doesn't go anywhere. And it goes to photography. It goes to how you create things. It's just think about having now this smart assistant that is with you for every single task.
Yeah, I love it. I just asked this to Kedar and Chris about the significance of having a lot of these things run natively on your device. Obviously, we've seen the power of these features when they're connected to the cloud with 5G, but it'd be great to get your insight on why this is so important that a lot of these capabilities are going to be able to run natively.
Yes. Everything that is device centric, it happens on the device because you want the answer to be immediate. So the first one is immediacy. Look, think about your phone, you have a smaller screen, let's say you're browsing the web. And you go to a particular site, you're going to scroll, you're going to read that information, that's the speed that you're going to read it. So that AI running over there, if the job is to summarize the web or summarize what's important for you, it has to happen super fast, otherwise you might as well read the page. So one big advantage is everything that it needs, you need an immediate response, is immediacy. The second thing is privacy. It's your data. Not everybody want to send all of their data to the cloud. So you can do those things still knowing it's your data, it's your phone call, it's your message, and it's on the device. The number three thing, it's what I find is the most exciting part. When you do a query on a cloud AI model, and I think we're going to do a lot of those things. It's just something like for search. But when that query comes from your device, it's more accurate because it has the context and it has exactly what the model think you want based on what you inserted. I think that's, so even when you think about cloud models, the device will give the cloud a head start and it will increase the precision. So those are the many reasons you want to do it on the device.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I think I just got the wrap-up signal. So Cristiano, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Kedar and Chris, for being here.
Thank you.
So the Snapdragon Spotlights are going to start noon Pacific tomorrow, where you guys are going to really deep dive into some of the things that were announced today. And we will be back live here for another after show tomorrow at 7:15 Pacific. So guys, thank you so much.
Thank
and we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't.